Hey, what's up guys? Houston here. Look, when it comes to NAICS codes, okay, for some of you all, you may not understand why this is such an important topic, especially when you're trying to get business funding, business financing, okay? The reason is choosing the wrong NAICS code can either disqualify you for funding or it can really restrict you from funding, all right? And so that's the reason I was going to tell you about the low risk NAICS code so you can get some ideas. Now, here's the thing about it. There's actually 3 things that can really hold you back from getting the maximum amount of funding, okay? 1 is the business structure. Number 2 is the banking institution. And number 3 is the NAICS code. All right, those 3 things, if you trying to limit yourself, you choose the wrong ones and definitely you're going to put yourself in a box. All right, so let's understand why I continue to tell you have to be very careful with this NAICS code. All right, number 1, choosing a high risk NAICS code. Some of you may not have no idea of what these here are. All right, so here's the thing about it. With a high risk NAICS code, when I tell you about real estate investing, high risk, if you're talking about online stock trading or stock trading, that's high risk, okay? When you're talking about selling ammunition, ammo is high risk, all right? When you're talking about things like restaurants, starting a restaurant, that's high risk. Starting a credit repair business, that's high risk, okay? So that being said, you have to choose something that's not as challenging to get funding. Now, there are ways to actually get around those high risk NAICS codes, and I'm gonna tell you some of the best places that you actually can go to get funding also, all right? Now, here's the thing about it. Some of your low risk NAICS codes, like in the technology sector, right? Wholesale retail type of sector. Those are like your low risk NAICS code. Type of services, all right? Now, I'm not talking about adult services because that's a high risk, but certain type of services get the maximum amount of funding, all right? So you have to be very careful in terms of what you're choosing. All right, so like if you're in IT, all right, in the technology space or whatever, that's something that gets a lot of funding. All right, when you're talking about wholesale retail type of stuff, that can get a lot of funding as well. Manufacturing gets a lot of funding. So it just depends on what it is that you're trying to do. Now, I know a lot of people, they trying to start like Airbnbs, bed and breakfast. They trying to start like maybe a Turo or something like that. Those are going to be your high risk type of businesses. So you have to choose companies or NAICS codes that complement those type of businesses. So giving you an example, like say that you are in Turo, right? So then you should not classify yourself as a rental car leasing company, all right? Now, let me talk about this for a minute, because this is where a lot of people make the mistake when they're getting into Turo. They would go to the banks like Bank of America, Ally Bank, right? And because they give them multiple cars and stuff like that under their business and things of that nature, they think they're all good. Well, here's the thing about it. If you get a car, let's just say you get a couple cars from Bank of America, right? And you start using it for commercial use, all right? They can actually pull the loan. And here's the reason why a lot more banks are starting to do that. Is because when you're putting 15, 20, 50,000 miles on a car in a year, okay, the depreciation of that asset goes down much faster. So if they have to repossess that car, there's no value in that car for them to resell. So that's the reason, like sometimes they will actually do an evaluation, pull the odometer. They'll reach out to the insurance company and stuff and pull the odometer to see what's going on or whatever. So you have to be very careful with when you're trying to start up like a Turo type of business, all right? So some things that you could find guidelines to help you get funding is maybe consider doing like a car wash or a detail type of business, right? That's going to give you a service business. That's going to get you a good amount of money. And then I would buy the car outright. Now, here's another thing that I would definitely tell you being going into the Turo business is that I would not take out a car loan. What I would do is probably get a personal line of credit or a business line of credit and buy the car. And that way, when you buy the car with that line of credit, when you start paying back that line of credit, you still have access to that money, all right? So that's something. Also, like auto repair. Like auto repair is something that gets a lot of money as well. So like if you're selling tires or, you know, just regular car maintenance and stuff like that. Let's talk about like medical supplies. So if you're in the healthcare industry, you know, I see a lot of people trying to do a medical supply delivery, like courier. Courier is a good business to register under or whatever, because it's not high risk. Selling medical supplies is something. Home healthcare services gets a lot of money. So that's something that's fairly easy. You have e-commerce. Now, e-commerce could be one of those ones that can raise you a lot of capital and stuff like that, but you have to be careful. Again, if it's anything that is closely related to adult entertainment or whatever, you have to be very careful, okay? So in the hotel retail space, I always tell people that you should consider like making it as general as possible. Like miscellaneous type of situation. That's the reason we offer services to actually help you structure the business with the right business structure, like I said, as well as with the right NAICS code. All right. Then a good one is like home. We were talking about real estate. We were talking about like home remodeling. Okay. So when you're looking at real estate investing and stuff, you have to look at things that are related to, so like home remodeling, handyman services, okay? Those are the type of things that you have to look at. Those are alternative. When you're talking about starting a restaurant and stuff like that, you don't want to start a restaurant. You want to be in the food distribution business, okay? So those are some of the places that you actually want to start with your best NAICS codes, all right? Now, here's something else in terms of when it comes to funding, especially as a new startup company and stuff like that. Where do you go? What if you already have revenue in the business? So then if you're making at least $2,500 in the business, then you would look at like fair figure, okay? Because they will give you a loan because you're fairly new startup or whatever. You have to be in business at least 90 days. So that's another thing. If you're doing 90 days in business and your average income, even if you have horrible credit, you may have to look at a merchant cash advance like Fundo that gives up to $10,000, okay? So that may be something that you actually have to do. Another thing is that like with Fundo, you have to be in business at least 90 days, minimum 1,500. You have to have an active checking account. Now, it doesn't have to be a business checking account, but you do have to show proof of income for the past, you have to show deposits, for three to four times out of the month, okay, for the past 90 days. All right, that's the same as with Giggle Finance that offers you up to $5,000. Lendeska offers you up to with Lendeska they offer you up to $20,000. You know, and that's for people that have like just bad credit, but you have revenue in the business, but you don't make a whole lot of revenue, you're making less than $5,000. I would say if you're making less than $5,000, then those would probably be your top pick for as companies to actually take a look at. All right. Now, here's the thing about it. If you have a slightly better credit, maybe about a 600, 620 credit score, then that's where you would look at like Axion. And I'll make a separate video that digs into these, as well as like with DreamSpring. Okay. So those are some of your options. But when it comes to, again, choosing the right NAICS code, if you don't have that right NAICS code, if you don't have the right bank, okay? And what I mean by that, when you're doing your business transactions, it's always clear to make sure that you have at least one major bank, a top tier 1 bank, okay? And so out of those top tier ones, I always choose the top 3, which is Chase, Citibank, Capital One. Okay. Now, I know because a lot of people, they start their business and stuff and they go to a community bank, they may go to a credit union. Okay. So those are your tier 2 and 3. All right. Or they may go to a tier 4. They may go to like Blue Vine and stuff like that. However, those type of institutions, they're not going to report your business transactions, okay? And so that's the reason why you can be doing almost $1 million a year.
You can operate the vehicle's features using voice commands. You can say things like...
Sorry about that, guys. So like with your tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 type of institutions and stuff, the thing about it, most of them do not report to the business credit bureaus, okay? So they don't track your business transactions. So it makes it very challenging for you to actually get qualified for funding, all right? So that's the reason I wanted to break this down, to try to simplify it much easier. If you all need help with structuring the business or trying to get access to business funding, personal funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.